Big game Sunday, of course. Sportsbooks are in fierce competition for Super Bowl wagers. Contessa Brewer joins us. She's live from New Orleans ahead of course, the game on Sunday, and has a special guest for us. Contessa.
Hi, David. Good morning to you. Listen, I'm already hearing a lot of trash talking around the streets of New Orleans, where the Eagles fans and the Chiefs fans are taking aim at each other. A lot of talk about the ticket prices plummeting down more than 40% on the resale market, according to StubHub from last year. And maybe a little bit of Chiefs fatigue, like we've seen them here before. With me now is CEO Jason Robins of DraftKings, one of the big giants of legal sportsbook wagering in the United States. Are you seeing, in terms of the wagers coming in, Chiefs fatigue?
Actually, the money is pretty even right now, so the spread's only 1.5. So people are typically not taking the spread if they're betting on the favorite side. So you're seeing a little bit of money line shift there, and then you're seeing the spread going the other way. So it's pretty even right now if you look at the overall money.
Chad Bainan, who's the gaming analyst at Macquarie, said his estimates are $1.7 billion legally wagered in the United States with the sports books, and that the ideal outcome here would be, he says, KC win and under total, because everybody wants to have a high-scoring game. And that would translate to about a $365 million gross gaming revenue for the market. He says in the most extreme scenario, DraftKings could see plus or minus 3.5% for the first quarter revenue. Is one game, even the Super Bowl, that important?
It can be. I think in this case, because the money's pretty evenly distributed, if it stays that way, it won't be. Right now, the biggest thing is going to be the touchdown scorers. So does Saquon, I think we're all kind of assuming Saquon Barkley is going to score. So everyone, our head of sportsbook said, look, I'm just penciling in a Saquon score. So I'm hoping Jalen Hurts and Kelsey stay out of the end zone. And that actually, at this point, will make a bigger difference in our numbers than the overall game. But there's a lot of time between now and kickoff, so that could certainly change.
When you look at the way that the wagering jumps for the Super Bowl, you're talking like, I think Optimove said something like 765% more wagers than even the finals for these games coming in. When you're thinking about that and putting that in perspective of what we already saw with fan favorites winning during the football season, we know that had an impact. How do you factor that in when you're trying to tell investors and analysts what to expect for the coming year?
Well, I think everyone understands that there's some volatility based on sport outcomes, and investors have become accustomed to that. So that's something I think the market understands, and over time it evens out. Really, as the numbers get bigger and the types of bets become more diverse, it's going to continue to be more normalized, less volatile. For example, I mentioned the touchdown scores. We have a lot more money on player props now than we did a few years ago, and so now game outcomes aren't nearly as impactful to us as they once were. They still are obviously very impactful, but it's been muted a little bit. So I think that also will help kind of, make things less volatile as time goes on. But that's just part of the nature of the business. And most events aren't like this. The NFL is sort of unique in the amount of volume, and the Super Bowl is obviously the biggest one of all.
Bank of America's analyst Sean Cowley says $1.15 billion in total volume on Kalshi and Poly markets. Those are the predictions markets. You're competing with these new entrants at a time when Ohio and Maryland are proposing doubling your tax rate. There's a lot of competition and a lot of money outgoing. Talk to me about balancing that.
I think those numbers show you how big this is in states that don't yet have legal state-authorized betting. If you take the illegal market and add that into the numbers you just said, you're talking orders of magnitude larger that's going to be wagered in the legal market this year. So that's still very much a big part of what's out there. Even in states that have legal betting, especially ones that have high tax rates where it's been harder for us to market and promote as much, those big legal sites are still out there. And I don't think people realize the size of those.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us. I know you got a busy weekend ahead of you. Appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.